Welcome guys, welcome to the Machete Mantis channel. I'm Mantis. So what I'm going to do in this video is go over a bunch of different strategies and ideas behind Kha'Zix, how to carry, how to exploit advantages, and how to take over a game from step 1 all the way till the completion of the game. As Kha'Zix, you want to be relentless, and you want to use your early dueling power to its maximum advantage. Always trying to get in the enemy's jungler's face, always trying to pretty much ruin their day in any way, shape, or form. So pretty much to go over a little bit about myself. Right now, I've been a Kha'Zix one trick for about since the start of this season. I usually one trick a champion every season. I think Kha'Zix is finally. I've been doing it just to find the champion that I want to pretty much play for the rest of forever. Uh, right now, I feel like there's no more fun champion than Kha'Zix. He's so much. He's kind of mechanical without being too much so. Like he's not like a Lee Sin obviously up there, but you have to react fast and go in on specific opportunities with Kha'Zix. You have to really take advantage of small windows and get out as soon as possible without getting blown up. He's a lot of fun, a lot of risk and a lot of reward, and win or lose, I enjoy playing Kha'Zix at this point. Right now, I'm the coach for a college team, Five Towns College. I've been a coach for about a year and a half. Last year, we started we started our career as a team, and this year we made playoffs for the first time in the Collegiate Star League. It was an exciting experience. The guys have grown such. They're I work for a great team. They're really like seeing them from the start and seeing them now has been an amazing experience. Rank wise, I'm mid plat elo right now. My goal at the end of the season obviously is diamond. If I get farther than that, that's fantastic. I don't claim to be the best player in the world, but I definitely am. I'm confident in my ability to analyze and my ability to go over mistakes and how to improve upon them. I've been playing this game for I think 5 years now, so ins and outs wise, I know how the game works. It's just a matter of getting better. And in-game decision making, you can always improve in, especially when looking from it from a topside view. Yeah, a topside view. When you're looking from the game from above, it's a lot easier to analyze and pick apart mistakes while also explaining what you did correctly and how to apply it to future games. So I'm going to jump right in. This game is I'm going up against a Vi. I have a very strong game, and this is exactly what you want to. It was just the best example, one of the cleanest examples I could pick up from my recordings, and I'm gonna go over exactly what I did and what you should do. And also, it's not. Even though it was like a near perfect game, there's still mistakes that I can do better in. There's still things that I could have done better. I made some. There's still like I think there's like a couple key plays that are dumb and just I go over why those you shouldn't do those anyway. Again, I'm not the perfect player, but this game will show you exactly what you need to do to exactly. It'll showcase Kha'Zix's strengths and what you need to do to uh, push those advantages into larger leads. So we start on blue side. I love starting blue side because, especially at lower elos, it's easier to take advantage of the enemy jungler. As Kha'Zix, I enjoy starting blue side, blue buff, going into the enemy junglers early, and usually, like 9 times out of 10, I'll blow a flash at least or get first blood. I'm pretty much your main job as Kha'Zix is to get an early kill and exploit it. Now, what's happening here is I usually don't do stuff like this, but I'm a team player. You want to be as much team player as possible in Plat Elo, otherwise you'll get cursed out to death or someone will AFK. So you're a little bit in a hostage situation in this Elo, but it's fine. Singe said he wants to do this cheese invade where we go through the river bush and kind of cut across. It actually works out pretty well in this situation. We all group up as a squad. Doesn't happen often, except for Cass, of course. She likes to be AFK in base, but it's her fault for missing out. Now, we walk forward. Singe immediately sees Vi and goes forward. Vi does something stupid here. She flashes forward. She really should have flashed over the wall because Singe with Ghost is going to have a tough time. He keeps going. He flips her, and I see an opportunity. I flash forward. Just honestly, I kill steal. I'm confident in my ability that I'll be able to carry. And good job, Cass. Always reliable. And I go back to pick up an early longsword. With your early backs, you want to pick up as much damage as possible. Kha'Zix clear is pretty safe in general, so you really just want to get as much damage early as fast as possible, so you can separate the gap between you and your opponent and really crush them whenever you run into them. So since I have an early kill, I'm going to show you, let's say you get, not this exact situation, but you get an early kill as Kha'Zix. You want to find the enemy jungle. You want to know exactly where they are. You want to get in their face, and you want to make sure that you just find them and you disrupt them as much as possible. Even if you don't kill them, it'll pull enemy laners over. It'll attract pressure to you, and you'll be able to take control of the game to your own tempo. I solo blue because I can, because I have a longsword. Even without it, I can do fine by kiting back. Now, this is my favorite route on blue side. You take blue, and because of the early invade, I'm a little behind a couple seconds, so you'll see that it doesn't go as perfect, but you want to ward this bush so you know the enemy jungler's coming. And you start their red. You're level 2 still. You should be able to do red before they get to you no matter what, because they're going to do at least one camp before they come over. And see, this is where the warding is important. She walks over the ward, and you want to use vision to your advantage. You're Kha'Zix, you're an assassin. You want to get as close to the enemy as possible and start annihilating them. And I actually do make a mistake in this. A basic Kha'Zix mechanic, but you'll see. So she walks over, she doesn't see me. She's like, oh, my red. No, there's a wild Kha'Zix here. Get some autos, apply the red buff, and just end her. Now, I started with an auto. You typically want to start with a Q because you want it to go, you want to reset the cooldown as fast as possible. So you always want to initiate with a Q when starting a trade with Kha'Zix. I have a terrible habit of autoing attack first because I like getting the slow off. That's a habit I really need to break because it's, obviously it doesn't seem like a big difference, but it could be in certain situations. That could be the difference between a kill and getting away. I leave the big raptor. You're just supposed to leave her, you just want to leave a raptor so she gets less XP, and especially raptor camps, they're worth the most XP. Like, they get an XP boost on the second, when the raptor respawn, they get a larger increase in XP next time you kill them. So it's important that you want to leave at least one chicken camp in the raptor camp, because then she's getting cut out on a lot of XP for the rest of the game. So now my next move is important. You want to play a mind game. They actually saw me with a ward here. I don't know that. Galio doesn't seem to react, so I think it's unwarded, or maybe he's just not scared. So I'm going to go up to gank him. You want to keep exerting your pressure. Now, as I said before, you want to, with the kill in mind that I just killed Vi twice, you want to keep in mind of what she's going to do next. She pretty much has two choices. I know her bot side, or at least most of it, is cleared because she had to go from this side to here. Now, this is the part of a jungler's mind game that you have to always be aware of. Where is she going to go next? In my mind, she has either one of two choices. She definitely didn't get to Krugs yet, so she's either going to Krugs or she's going to my red side jungle, because those are the only two things that should be up. Or she's going to just for an immediate gank. Now, I think she was level 2 when I killed her, so I'm taking the guess that she wants level 3 before she ganks, and she's going to go for Krugs. So I have some time before I can meet her at her red side, where that will be respawning next. I don't think she's ballsy enough to go into my red side jungle, because she doesn't know that she would assume that I go straight to it. But I decide to get more kills. I'm greedy and go to Galio next. So she Fs up by going to Krugs. She takes the safe route. She just wants farm. Understandable. But I'm going to take advantage. I'm pretty sure Galio's flaming the Vi, so he's not paying attention. I jumped forward to block his dash, but Singe does it instead. This Singe is aggro. I actually back off. He tanks the first couple shots, as many as possible. I tank the next one. And we flawlessly exchange the tower aggro damage as soon as possible. You push under the wave, so the Singe loses XP. And Vi is still doing Krugs, so their team's just losing out on nice XP, just in general. So now you want to think of what to do next. Vi didn't show up, and I don't know where she is, but I could assume she's on her bot side. But she shows now, so she shows top lane. I know she's there. Next place she's going to go is her bot side jungle. That is what should be respawning next. I doubt she'll go into my top side jungle, so I want to meet her at her enemy buffs. So I want to do my red buff, and I'm going to do my chickens to reset the XP, because that's important. You don't want to spend too much time farming, but I'm ahead, and I'm pretty sure I can do the camps as soon as possible and meet Vi in her jungle again just to mess up her day further. Mid seems like a pretty evenly done matchup so far. No problems there. I know he can hold out. Bot lane is asking for assistance from Vi rapidly, so you know that they're hurting or they're pretty frustrated with their jungler giving up 2 kills early. And that's another thing. Depending on your elo, you could win a game just based on frustration alone. The more pressure you put, the more angry their team. Honestly, half the battle is just making the enemy team angry at themselves, getting them frustrated, and trying to make them think of it opening. So I'm clearing Scuttle just in case I need a way out. The enemy team probably knows that I'm aggressive. Now, warding spots as a jungler. These are 2 very important warding spots, especially as Kha'Zix. This one right here. So I knew she was going to be the topside jungle, and this ward gives you a lot of vision on a typical jungle route. So a jungler's pretty much going to go over this wall, do their wolves, either go to blue or go to Gromp, and then walk to either gank, mid, or bot using this river. Now, this ward will give you vision of them 75% of the time. A lot of junglers like to ward here or here. Honestly, this would be the next best spot. Over here, usually junglers don't path this way. Like, when you're ganking, like, typically, like, a jungler isn't really going to go this way to gank a mid laner. They're going to go around, at least from red side. Go around and do this. Do this way, or go around and do this way. This is really kind of a terrible bush, at least for jungle tracking. This is a good spot. It's safe to put in, or it's one of the relatively safer spots to put in. You're not going too deep. And on this side, you want to ward here. Or, if possible, if your lanes have a lot of pressure, like mid is pushed up and top is pushed up, you can go all the way in and ward this bush. It's a riskier thing to go into here. Typically, this will be enough just to show that the jungler is walking past. But, if possible, you want to ward in here as well. So what happens next is I find the Vi, and then it's just basic mechanics. I know she's going to jump. I jump in forward to block her dash. She smites Gromp. Shouldn't matter. Red buff's applied, and Gromp is helping me out because he's a bro. Vi gets taken down. Gromp dies, or Gromp resets, and I send over the Vision Ward just to let Vlad know I know he's coming. You always want to be aware of what your laners do when you're invading. Obviously, you want to put pressure, but you also don't want to die if possible. You want to make sure that you disrupt the natural laning of your enemies, so it puts them off balance as well as the enemy jungler. And when you get a kill, something that you want to do next is you want to look for everything that you can take within a reasonable time frame. You go over, you take wolves. She obviously already did wolves. I should have assumed that because she came from that, or she came from that direction. And you want to take the Gromp. You want to make sure you get as much XP as possible, and she gets next to none. Now, Vi does something really stupid here. She's probably on tilt at this point. She knows her top camps are gone. She knows her bot camps just got taken. So she's just looking for a gank. She just comes straight bot. I'm already there. It's warded. She knows I put a ward there. So I just walk up using vision. I don't predict her dash, but she does a terrible blast cone jump. And Lulu's there to secure the kill. Morgana and Draven just go full tunnel vision. They're way pushed up. I just walk in lane, and this is where this is my fuck up of the game. Even though I'm doing I'm doing well macro, this is my first mistake. I don't know if I didn't have enough mana or I was trying to save my flash, but I just walked straight into Morgana's stun. Draven gets some autos off, and I'm just there looking like an idiot, and I have to flash away. Bot lane puts enough pressure to force them off of me, but if I would have either flashed the Morgana snare and not have been greedy enough to just hold my flash, or I just did a terrible job predicting the Morgana, I just take a snare to the face and I'm forced to blow my flash for no reason. So that's a little bit of my advantage gone, and those are the mistakes that you want to, like, those could make or break the game. That was just a free double kill that I just caused my team, even though I'm ahead. Not a perfect game. But you want to keep going forward and just not think about the mistakes that you made. So that was silly, but I'm going back into it. Next thing you want to know, think about what to do. So her blue buff's spawning. There's a pink ward in her jungle, so I should get some vision of her. But again, it's the crappy one, so I'm not too reliant on it. She either... At this point, it was a little luck. I actually thought she was at blue side because you'd want your blue buff, but maybe Vi was just trying to change it up, just trying to avoid me. So that's where that next high elo, like jungle sense, would come in. You want to see Vi's next move. So right now, I'm just gonna go get level 6, so I know I can be stronger than her, and I know I can just blind invade her jungle at that point. It won't matter. I see her red coming up soon, so I think that that's my next goal. Singed has been snowballing top, and I can rely on pressure from him. He's been following up well. And Cassiopeia wanted that blue, but I'm actually the duo partner with the Cass. Bot lane is flaming because their Singe is just sitting there, so I have to cover top. I know I'm level 6, I wanted to invade, but instead of losing out on XP for my team, sometimes it's important to get the XP and save the pressure for later. Because the wave crashing on tower, it'll equate to pressure for the enemy team, and you want to prevent that as much as possible. Now, what I do here is another misplay. I don't know if I was just overconfident or tilted or just like whatever, but I'll explain it as I do it. I walk in, I jump, again I auto Q. You want to Q auto. I miss the caddy. I smite a minion. I use my blue smite on a minion, which causes me not to get the movement speed. And Galio just jumps away. I W the minions. Like, it was just poorly played all around. Like, literally horribly played. So, in frustration, I just clear the minions, get as much XP as possible to reset the wave for the Singe while he comes back top. He's recalling now, so I believe I get it in her tower. Galio doesn't try to freeze it or anything. And I see Vi going mid. Again, as a Kha'Zix, you know you're ahead. You run to that enemy jungler. I know she just probably cleared her top lane. I saw she had red buff, thanks to the ward that she walked over and Cass's pings. So pay attention to the map. Now, I start to do scuttle, but then I realize, like, wait, what am I doing? I need to get in this Vi's face. I need to make sure she remembers who I am. She knows I am her neighbor in her jungle. Like, essentially, you want that to be your jungle. Like, her jungle is now your jungle. You want to be there. You don't even want to be in your jungle. Your team can take up your camps. You just take the Vi's camp. You want to starve her from as much XP as possible. Now, here's the interesting thing. The enemy team is sick of my shit. This is where they get pissed off, and everyone collapses. Our bot lane, you want to keep an eye out for your own lanes, obviously. I see my Cass is coming, and I ward here just to make sure we're not going to get collapsed on bot lane. And this is why wards are so important. Immediately see bot lane coming. I see our bot lane is still in lane, and this we should probably back off this place. So we don't enter. I jump to dodge the binding. That's what I should have done in lane last time. Cash just 1v2s, gets off a beautiful two-man ult. Lulu's there now, bought enough time. I'm zoning the Vladimir on the side. I know I'm just going to let Cass do her work. Vi jumps over using ult, and Caitlyn puts in her damage from afar. I believe we chase. Lulu gets hit by the stun. I jump over the wall, and I see Vlad thanks to Cass. I just do a little outplay, juke backwards, and run back towards him. That's a cool little Kha'Zix mechanic you want to do. You want to run one direction as you're pressing your R, and you have a full second and a movement speed buff. So you want them to think you're going left and then juke right. So Vlad comes over to try to hit me with the Q because he knows I'm in the area, but I'm way closer than he expects, and you just execute him. And I believe at this point, I just take the rest of Vi's jungle. I don't even waste time with wolves this time. I just go straight to the dragon because that's a bigger objective, and I know I can solo it at this point. I have a couple long swords. And it's really, again, you want to get as many objectives as possible, and you want to prioritize the biggest objectives you can with the safest outcome possible. So I know Vi can't challenge me. I know she's probably not going to be outside because she knows I just took her camps. So you want to do, I start doing dragon, and at this point, the enemy surrenders. I put enough pressure. As I said, half of this game is mental. It's about winning games and winning them efficiently. Taking small leads, turning them into big ones. I flashed in for first blood. I didn't need to do that. Our team would have secured it, but I was confident in my ability to snowball that lead. And again, it was not a perfect game, but it was a good enough game that I put constant pressure and did not ease off the gas pedal. You want to step on the gas pedal, push it farther, and make sure you make that enemy jungler regret queuing up with you. You want to make sure that as Kha'Zix, you are the hunter. You're invading them. You're in their jungle. You want to make them second-guess every decision that they make and get in their head. Like before, like Vi was just tilted off the face of the earth. She was entering a jungle. She knew I warded. You want to have those key wards at Raptor Camp and at Gromp, so you know exactly what side the enemy is on. I cannot stress those wards enough. Those will give you so much information. If you see them there, you know they're there. If you don't see them there for a while, you could assume they're in the opposite side of the jungle. They're doing something somewhere else on the map. It at least is process of elimination. And typically you want to go full pen, just as quick build guide. You want to go full pen on Kha'Zix. I think it's still the strongest. Some people like to go Tiamat. I've seen an emergence of that since it got nerfed, especially with the nerf of Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is situational now. It's not a full item build. It's not an automatic item build. It doesn't offer you enough attack damage anymore. If you want a little tankiness, it's sure it's good. But if you're snowballing, ideally you want to go full pen. It just gives you the most damage as fast as possible, especially when the enemy's behind. So yeah, they pretty much open at this point. I'm just going to go through some quick explanations of other tips and mechanics and tactics for Kha'Zix. Now, when you're starting red side, everyone has their own routes. Like, you could do the same thing. You could start blue, go into their blue, or sorry, start red on red side, go into their blue side jungle, same tactic, ward over this wall, ward right here, take their blue and wait for them to come around. It'll be the same thing. Sometimes it's faster because people go from red straight to blue, so you have to be careful of that. That's why I don't like this invade as possible. And it's a little bit riskier because of that reason. But if you're that aggressive and you want to do that, I'm totally for it. Otherwise, I typically on red side, you want to go from just do the safest route and the most efficient route. Just go from red to raptors. So blue to raptors to red. You want to get those raptors first because they do give you that XP boost. As I said, they're important to get first. And you will be behind in XP if you don't clear them early, typically. And then you want to either gank top, mid, or go into their jungle invading. If your lanes are pushed in, then obviously, unless the tower dive's super obvious, you want to go into their jungle. Yeah, right here we're just like, the game's over, the enemy has given up, and we're just ending the game. So that's pretty much it. On blue side, obviously, you could go from blue-red and blue raptors red, and then do one of two ganks, do mid or bot gank, or like I said, invade. But the route I like to do is go from our blue to their red into their bush, so you could cheese, like, not really cheese them. Honestly, I just call it aggressive pathing, and you want to get in their head early and take those kills. And like I said, you'll get a flash 90% of the time, especially in lower elo. And, oh, that's what I wanted to say. Super important tip that a lot of people don't realize. You can figure out the side your enemy jungler starts on just by the way the laners react. Most laners will just go directly to their lane as soon as possible, not play mind games. But the lane that gets to their minions last is typically the side that the jungler started on. So junglers that are mana reliant will typically start blue. You could expect that. But if bot lane gets to lane after minions are there and you see the top laner already just hanging out, but there's no bot lane to be seen, that means you could be safe to invade. So when doing this invade, you want to keep an eye on that. Unless there's a Shaco or someone that could solo their jungle early without a leash, like a Fiddlesticks. Obviously, that's a little trickier. If people don't get to lane, it's harder to track. But for the most part, bot lane's going to get there last. You're going to be like, okay, bot lane took a while to come to lane. They know I'm starting, or I know they're starting there. And most of the time, the enemy jungler doesn't pay attention to that unless they're good. Obviously, as people get better, it'll be harder. But that's a good key thing that you need to pay attention to. And vice versa. If the top laner gets there late, you know they started top. Invading there is a terrible idea because it's either going to be gone or they're going to be waiting for you. They could be low doing raptors. That's something you may want to check, but it changes your strategy. Just that simple thing. You don't even need wards to figure out where your jungler is for the first 3 levels. After that, you want to use wards, the ones by Raptor Pit and the ones by Gromp. But that's some key things to keep in mind. So after that, Vi's just inting at this point, trying to get some cheese kills. Lulu, Polymorphs, Vi's having a terrible time. And that's a wrap. She can't even get the pity kill. I'm out of mana, so I'm pretty much useless. Singe is out of mana. Cass doesn't want a 1v3. We back off. And it's really just making the smartest, most aggressive decisions possible without giving up pressure. You want to be, when you're invading, you want to be looking at the lanes more than your actual champion. Obviously, you want to be aware if you're running into the enemy jungler, but if you're walking over a ward, the enemy lanes are going to go just start moving towards you immediately. And this becomes harder and harder as you climb an elo. Depending on your elo, it'll be harder to invade and harder to snowball a lead because of the reactions of your enemy laners. Now, Singe is going to man mode this. He's just going to, like, this is actually pretty hilarious. Morgana's chilling. Vi is dying, try to stop him just from his poison alone. Vlad, same thing. And the rest of the team is just watching, trying to get back. Oh, Vlad flashes in. I didn't even realize this. Actually, does he kill Singed? I don't know. Oh, he's tilted. Rule number 1, you do not want to chase a Singed. I don't know if that's a really important rule. You really want to be aware of that. I cannot stress that enough. And Singed Lu Cass just playing with the end of the game. I'm trying to make my way. I don't even make it back to the Nexus, but that's a wrap. That's basically what you want to do as Kha'Zix, and those are some helpful tips on how to snowball your lead. We're trash. We actually died once before the end of the game, so be better than us. Snowball your leads harder than that even, and don't make stupid mistakes like top lane and my bot lane ganks. And just reviewing your video, reviewing even your good games. Like, there's always mistakes and always things that you could have done better. Now I know not to be greedy and just to flash a Morgana Q, because I used flash anyway, so there's no point in saving it sometimes and being cocky and just thinking she's going to miss or playing mind games sometimes. Just take the safest, most aggressive play that you can with the information that you have, and always be looking at your minimap when you're invading, watching those laners converge, making sure that your laners are going to get there first, and calling for invades, or letting your team know that you're invading before you do it, because half the game is a mind game, like I said. But again, thanks for watching. I'm Mantis. I'm actually thinking about changing my username. I'll let you guys know in-game, my in-game username if you want to friend me. But yeah, peace out, nerds.